All right, good evening, race fans. Welcome to the World Center of Racing from Daytona Beach, Florida, out here tonight for the Freaky Diggy Racing League regular season finale. Coke 200 out here as drivers get set to go racing for the next 80 laps. Here from the high banks of Daytona, 31 degrees of banking. And turn 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're about set to go. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday night. Getting through the work week. I am Tom Richter. I will be up here in the booth hanging out with you and all these drivers for the next 80 laps. I'm going to be joined by Arie Heinzman as well at some point throughout the night. Arie making her way into the gates of Daytona Beach as the drivers get set to go racing once more on a Wednesday night. Taking a look quick at your timing and scoring charts. Right now, just under 5 minutes remaining out here in open practice. Daniel Scruggs currently leads the way over Chris Pogley's. Jaden Wicks, Nathan Peacock, Mike Miller, the top 5 on the board as they run with just about 4 minutes remaining out here. And we come to Daytona. We talk about the land of the unknowns, looking for first-time winners, looking for drivers to make a mark as they possibly try to get their first win of the season and set themselves up to make a run at the championship, which begins next week. Race information out here for tonight. Playoffs begin next week. Darlington, Gateway, Bristol. That's the round of 16 drivers that are going to be fighting to win the championship all together. And we're going to be here on the CyberThunder Broadcast Network every week between now and the end of November, when these drivers do finally crown a champion in this Freaky Diggy Racing League. Who you guys got out there? See a couple of people checking in already. Matt Semple out there. Last week's winner. Matt not able to join us out here tonight. Matt, who you got? See Dean checking in, HD checking in. Got some Jaden Wicks fans checking in as well. We're going to be keeping an eye on all these drivers because when you come to Daytona, it's anybody's game. couple of drivers making their final practice laps out here right now. Taking a look right now, the 72. Who else is up in this group up here? Jaden Wicks up in this group. Mike Miller, Chris Lawrence all up in this group, making their final laps of practice. Seeing what they can get away with and what they can't get away with. As we see in 72, take a ride around there, but as we've got just about 2.5 minutes out here in practice, we're going to go ahead, we're going to step away, we're going to throw the stars and the stripes over the loudspeakers from Daytona Beach, Florida. We're going to bring you your full 5 minutes of qualifying, and we'll get set to go racing. Here from Daytona, as practice begins to wind down. Looking like a busy pit road right now. Mike Miller still out on track. Mike is in that 24. Had a good run last week at Richmond Raceway. Didn't quite get the finish that we thought that he was going to try to get, but Mike Schaefer also running out here. Mike had some issues last week at Richmond in that 29 machine. Hoping to turn his luck around here for the regular season finale before we go playoff racing, but about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 over the Speedway. Checkered flag's going to fall on open practice, and we're going to get set to do our 5-minute 2-lap qualifying out here to determine our pole sitter for tonight. Looking up and down the scoring charts right now, looking for the first drivers to light up. Aiden Shrine in the number 87 sitting on the edge of pit road, getting set to go and post his 2 laps in that number 87 Coca-Cola Chevy Camaro that Aiden's got. Aiden had a great run last week at Richmond, almost walked away with the win, just came up a little bit short towards the end. Certainly had enough speed in that car to give Matt Semple a challenge in Richmond, but Aiden Shrine up through the gears, going to see how he manages to do his qualifying run. He's going to have 2 laps to do it. One strategy that we've seen on the super speedway races is drivers maybe not getting up to full song, as it looks like Aiden is doing right now, and maybe keeping those tires nice and cool, keeping some extra fuel in the car for this short little 2-lap qualifying session out here. I don't understand the logic or the science behind it, but it works. I don't usually qualify very well here or at the other plate tracks of Atlanta Super Speedway or Talladega, but these guys have got something figured out. You can see them riding all the way up against that outside wall, almost scraping the right side. That's where you want to be. Make the track circumference as wide as you possibly can. Maximize the RPMs going down here into turn number 1. That's going to build up all that extra speed to begin his lap number 2. Yeah, he is about as close as you can possibly get, so he might even be touching it there. Let's see. We can't get a better look at Aiden Shrine coming through in that 87. Other drivers out on track right now: Paxton Frith, Roy Hill III, Chris Lawrence, Daniel Scruggs, Justin Osterman, Brad Holmes, Gary Miller. Almost the entire field of 14 drivers taking a lap right now. 2 drivers still sitting on pit road, not yet rolled off, as Nathan Peacock and Logan Spencer. So we will see if they are just waiting for the shadows to get a little bit longer, grip to pick up here at Daytona before they attempt their qualifying run. But Aiden Shrine getting set to come across the line, see what he's able to do. First time by for the 89 is just under a second off the current pole sitter of Chris Lawrence. Mike Schaefer, half a tenth behind Chris Lawrence. Mike Miller, Gary Miller, Jaden Wicks, Chris Buglise. As more times begin to pop up on the board, we're going to pop around. Follow Mike Schaefer here for a moment. Mike currently working his second lap, so the difference between the first lap, second lap, you're going to see Mike now all the way down on the inside line on that yellow line coming through the corners here. While we're on board here with Mike Schaefer, Justin Osterman has just jumped up to the top of the charts right now with a 50-25. Chris Pugliese right behind him. Chris Lawrence currently running in third. Gary Miller was just overtaken by Aiden Shrine. Currently rounds out your top 5. And let's see, who did we... Drivers that were waiting on their qualifying run. Nathan Peacock has come out, and he's about to begin his first lap in that number 72 car that he's got out here. So we'll follow Nathan along, as there's only about 4, maybe 5 cars left posting their times right now. So Nathan Peacock, Daniel Scruggs, Christian Key about to complete his second lap, Gary Miller. It looks like that's going to be about it in terms of qualifying, in terms of drivers that can possibly upset Justin Osterman and maybe steal the pole away here in the next minute or two. Kind of right in the middle of the track right here, not nearly as high as we saw Aiden a moment ago. We'll see what Nathan's able to do in that 72 as he comes along. He's going to hug that yellow line, put down his first time lap. First time lap down, just over 2 tenths behind your current race leader, qualifying leader, Justin Osterman. He's working his second lap. Daniel Scruggs coming across the line. First driver we've seen taking a lower line through the tri-oval. Comes up just short of the pole position out here. And Nathan Peacock is going to be your final driver attempting to make a run for the pole position out here tonight. It's actually going to be close. He's only got 3 seconds left in qualifying to get it done, as the checkered flag is out. Oh, and he does not get to complete his second lap. That is one of the unfortunate results of waiting to start your qualifying laps. You need about 3 minutes start to finish on and off pit road. But we're going to go ahead, pull up qualifying order out here tonight. Justin Osterman is going to lead the field of 16 drivers out here tonight with a 50.250. To his outside on row number 1, Daniel Scruggs make up row number 1. Christopher Pugliese and Christian Key, they're the drivers up in row number 2. Row number 3 belongs to Chris Lawrence and Gary Miller. Brandon Brody and Aiden Shrine round out 7th and 8th place. Paxton Frith, Jaden Wicks, that's currently your top 10. And on the outside of the top 10, looking in, Mike Schaefer and Brad Holmes qualified 11th and 12th place there. To the row right behind them, Mike Miller and Roy Hill III, 13th and 14th place. And then 2 drivers rounding out the 8 rows that are going to be making up our field tonight. Nathan Peacock and Logan Spencer. Logan Spencer, the only driver elected not to take a qualifying time out here. But as we get set to go racing, we've got some stages that we got to talk about. Stages out here tonight, drivers are going to be looking for lap number 20 and lap number 40. Field is probably going to be getting somewhere in the ballpark of 22 to 25 laps. That's about what I heard through the garage as I was talking to some of the drivers out here earlier tonight. So should not have an issue on fuel for the stages. But that last stage could get a little fun if we do have a long green flag run to finish out this race. Sit field lining up behind the iRacing.com pace car. Everybody getting into the right positions as we get set to go racing from the high banks of Daytona out here tonight. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday night. Throw out your picks, your pre-race picks. Shout out your favorite driver, who you want to see. Take the black and white checkered flag out here tonight. Glad everybody's joining us on a Wednesday evening. From underneath the lights here at Daytona, it's about time we go racing. Quiet track for the moment, but not for long as we wait for the iRacing.com pace car to bring the field of 16 drivers out of turn number 4, and we can hear them coming. iRacing.com pace car about to bring it down to pit road, and we're going to go green flag racing this time by as the drivers are set to go for the regular season finale from the Friggy Diggy Racing Cup League, and we are about time to go. Barney's got that flag high up in there, and we are about ready to go into the restart zone. They come for the first time. Justin Osterman and Daniel Scruggs bring us to the green flag for the first time this evening. Two and a half miles down, 198 more to go. From Daytona International Speedway is the field led by Daniel Scruggs. Leads lap number 1, gets some bonus points as these drivers make their way around. Daniel Scruggs getting a good push from Christian Key in the 970. Justin Osterman, the last of the 3 cars on the inside, going to jump up to the outside, trying to jump up in front of Gary Miller. See if he's able to do that. He is able to do that, and they're running side by side down the backstretch, looking like a 200-mile-an-hour pace lap. These drivers only going to be able to push probably maybe 2, maybe 3 laps before they're going to need some air on the radiators for these cars. So we're gonna see some heavy pushing, and then we're also gonna have to see some drivers having to get out of the air, get some cool air, cool those engines down, because that will take a motor out. But Justin Osterman controlling both lanes right now. He's taking a look at the outside, the inside, not sure which lane he wants to run. He's gonna decide to jump up to the outside lane, jump up in front of the 38 of Gary Miller. The outside lane a little bit more formed up right now, got some better help right now. Justin leading the way here, working lap number 3. Daniel Scruggs trying to make a push onto the inside with, I want to say is that Aiden Shrine back there right behind him, possibly. And the top line starting to prevail here with help with Jaden Wicks, Christian Key, Roy Hill III, Logan Spencer out there as well. And the top line now becomes the bottom line as they enter into turn number 1. A little bit of a bobble for Gary Miller there. Looks like he may have just gotten his nose up on the outside of the 54, a little bit more than he wanted to, and that's going to allow the 38 to jump up. And you can see the outside lane running, the 87 getting a huge push right now. No daylight from the 87 as the 87 of Shrine jumps down to the inside line. Jaden Wicks going to hold steady on the outside line as they come through 3 and 4, working lap number 4 here as the lights begin to come on from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Gary Miller, your fourth lap leader of the event out here tonight in just 5 laps. And a couple of drivers moving forward, a couple of drivers moving backwards as this race begins. Chris Pogliese down 6, 7, 8 spots. Chris Lawrence down 8 spots. Brandon Brody started 8th on the board out here tonight, down 8 spots as well. So perhaps some drivers saying, hey, I know that there's a caution coming in about 15 laps here. Oh, big hit from the 970 of Christian into the back of Daniel Scruggs there. That was a huge hit. That had the potential to go pretty bad pretty quick, but they all hang on to it, and they come out of turn 4 alive. All right, that camera's broken. We're not going to use that one anymore. We're taking a look at some of the cool cameras that we got around here. But Aiden Shrine now up to the race lead. Gary Miller currently running second, still working the outside line. Justin Osman dropped down a lap ago, and now Aiden Shrine's going to do the exact same thing. Says, don't mind if I do. I'm going to come on down. That's going to open up the outside lane for the 38 and the 9 as they try to work their way through and try to gain some momentum. Try to push that outside lane forward. And a lot of times the outside lane will have a better run because of the momentum. Keep the RPMs up a little bit on these cars. If you got somebody that you trust pushing you behind you, there's a good chance that that outside lane is going to walk towards the front of the field. But Aiden Shrine leading the way out here as he's got Osterman behind him. A couple of drivers tapping the wall back there. Saw some smoke. Couple of 3 wide situations going on in the middle-ish of the pack back here. Daniel Scruggs sliding back a little bit. Chris Lawrence, Mike Miller, Logan Spencer, all these drivers kind of just riding right now and seeing where they come out. We take a look at on board with Logan Spencer. Take a look exactly what Logan sees right now. That is not a comfortable view that Logan's got right now. He's sees the cars moving around a little bit, and you could just hear the throttle that he's working with, and then you see the little bit of a checkup here. But working lap number 8, get back over here, and as we come around to work lap number 8, we've got Gary Miller in the wall. That's going to stack the field up behind him as we've got 2, 3, maybe 4 wide, couple of cars going below the yellow line to avoid incident. Gary Miller, Jaden Wicks, 77 of Roy Hill III. Couple of drivers having a moment, but while all that was happening, I think they finally let Arie Heinzman through the security gates here and up into the booth. Arie, did you bring me my drinks?
No, Tom, no drinks, but they did at least let me through security, so that much is a plus.
Well, welcome into the broadcast. We've had great racing here the first 9 laps. Green since the word go out here at Daytona. 16 cars strong. That is the current picture underneath the lights here from Daytona International Speedway. Glad to have you back up here once again on the CyberThunder Broadcast Network. Got a great battle as we're looking at Brad Holmes right now, leading the outside charge with Aiden Shrine right behind him. Justin Osterman getting a push from Christian Key as we enter into turn number 1. I think I locked Arie out again. We closed the doors. There's contact. There's door banging on the backstretch here up for the race lead. Justin Osterman and Brad Brad Holmes. They had a little bit of door contact on the backstretch there, and we've seen that a couple of times out here tonight, where a driver the closing rate maybe a little bit faster than these drivers are expecting, which may be causing some of those door bangs. But Christian Key now leads the outside, still the 87 right behind him. Justin Osterman back up to the race lead once again. Got Brad Holmes pushing him. Daniel Scruggs had an up-and-down night so far through the opening half of stage number 1. Daniel Scruggs currently running back in 6th place as these drivers beginning to think about their stage 1 strategy, Ari.
Absolutely, Tom. Sorry, I had to contact the cameraman real quick and get myself set up there. But it looks like for the first 10 laps of the race so far, we've got a bunch of fancy drivers. Nobody, it really looks like, is ready to just ride around. We've got some aggression early on, and I do love a drafting race where you've got some aggression early on. It provides some interesting storylines, and we get to see a little bit of what each of the drivers have in terms of, you know, how are they going to use the runs they have, which line are they going to prefer, how aggressive are their blocks going to be, or their, you know, dives to the other lane to try and get an advantage. So seeing this much this early, I think, is a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking a little bit about it earlier here tonight. Regular season finale for their Cup Series. Everybody going into playoff mode next week. For a lot of these drivers, this is your real last week of maybe allowing yourself to make a mistake throughout the course of the night and not so much worrying about points.
That is absolutely correct. I love, actually, the fact that the season finale ends at a track like Daytona here, or even, you know, if they decided to do it at Talladega. I think a drafting track is a great way to round out the regular season finale going into the playoffs. It's just the right mix of chaos and hope for a lot of these drivers. And yeah, I couldn't choose better. Obviously, I don't want the playoffs or the championship to end at a race like this, but this is a good sweet spot for it.
Well, that's where I was about to go with it. I thought you were saying that we should end every season at like Atlanta Super Speedway or Talladega or something. Make it a great equalizer. I mean, you take a look at their playoff schedule. You've got Martinsville, you've got Gateway, you've got Darlington next week. So a lot of really difficult tracks that these drivers are going to be working with for their 10-race playoff. So big challenges ahead for these drivers.
That it is, and I'm really looking forward to the stretch of tracks we have to start out the playoffs. Looks like we got a couple drivers pulling off there.
Issue for the 72 on the exit of pit road right here. Looks like Nathan Peacock probably had a moment there. We're going to take a look and see if we can't find exactly what may have caused that issue for Nathan. Now, it's going to be interesting here, Ari, to find out if this is the end of stage 1. I want to say that they're going to get probably a 1 or a 2 lap shootout, but let's first take a look at the caution flag here and figure out if we can't see exactly what happened to the 72. Oh, another case of internet issues.
Yep, and unfortunately, no way to avoid that here on the sim as much as we'd like to. Sometimes that's just the name of the game, and I feel like we see it more often at these drafting tracks than anywhere else, just with the close nature. Unfortunate for the 72 car this evening, but it also looks like the damage wasn't terminal.
No, definitely not. But I do want to take a look at Brad Holmes up here because Brad was right behind him. A lot of times, the way the algorithms work in iRacing, you can get away with those kind of incidents without getting any damage, which don't see any damage on the front of that 0-0 Camaro for Brad Holmes. I think he may have been spared any damage, but he was heavily into the back of the 72 through no fault of Brad Holmes himself, right? But just the way that iRacing records their damage models.
Yeah, I think Brad Holmes is going to be pretty happy that those incident points right there were just kind of ghostly, and he didn't get caught up worse. Because I think you and I have both seen those internet connection issues turn out a lot worse for everyone around. And well, breathe a sigh of relief and live to fight another day.
Nobody coming on pit road here, Ari. So this tells me we're going back green before the end of the stage here. Race control likely has already told these drivers we're going to get a 1 or a 2 lap shootout, as there's only 3 cars on pit road. One of them was involved in the caution. Chris Lawrence, one of the other cars coming on pit road, as well as Jaden Wicks. So a lot of drivers electing to stay out for stage points here and see how this stage finishes.
Yeah, I think in a situation like this, I think the fuel is a big part of it. for sure, but tires being so much of a non-issue at the drafting tracks a lot of the times, I feel like it really opens the door for, you know, screw it, go for stage points. Why not go out there and try to take advantage of it? It's a lot different than if you're at, you know, a mile and a half or a short track, and those tires might be worth more than the stage points.
As the field comes behind the iRacing.com pace car, working lap number 16 of 80 out here tonight in the Coke 200 that these drivers are out here allowing us to do. We kind of touched up on this a little bit earlier. Matt Semple not out here racing. Matt taking care of some family business on baby watch for the driver of the number 8. Had a dominating run last week at Richmond Raceway, and hope all is well for the Semple family.
Absolutely, and of course want to extend our congratulations to Matthew Semple on the baby watch. It's an exciting time, I'm sure, for him, and one of the few worthy causes to be missing some races. So he went out with a real good performance in Richmond. He'll be back, I'm sure, for a good run into the playoffs.
Field comes around here, we expect to see the lights off on the iRacing.com pace car this time by, which will signify 1 lap to go in the stage. But the race currently being led by Christian Key, Justin Osterman, Daniel Scruggs, Paxton Frith, Christopher Pugliese. Currently your top 5 as the lights do extinguish, and we will see lane choice here as it looks like Christian Key elects to take the inside line. That puts the 54 on the outside, Daniel Scruggs, right behind the 970 here. So we get set to go racing for a quick little sprint to determine stage 1.
I tell you what, Tom, I like the position that the 14 of Daniel Scruggs is in. We saw a lot of aggression out of that 14 back at the Atlanta Superspeedway race, and he kind of shows that he's not afraid to go up there, use the draft, and get aggressive and go and take positions when he needs to. There's some stage points up for grabs here with a stage win, and when you're in third place, you're kind of, in a lot of ways, in control of how the restart is going to go. Obviously, if you're the leader, you can get that jump, but third place has a lot of power in who they help, who they push, and what moves they make.
Very situational, Arie, right? But would you rather be in third place or fourth place on a restart like this? Being that the outside lane may have a little bit more opportunity to move around. The outside lane kind of dictates what the inside lane is going to do and how much room they're going to have to work. They go down to turn number 1 and they start door banging on the right side of the inside line. That opens up the door for the outside lane, but not so much the inside.
Yeah, that is a great point. More often than not, I've seen the bottom line get such a big jump that it kind of fractures up that high line. But depending on who's up there, I do like the outside line. I think it's also situational. Who do I have around me? But we're getting ready for the pace car to pull off. We're going to get this restart going, this little shootout to the end of stage 1.
Here the gearboxes, up through they go, 5 gears strong, great jump for Christian Key. In that 970 machine, puts 3, 4, maybe 5 car lengths on Daniel Scruggs as they come across the line, side by side for second place. But it's all Christian Key up front, but for how long, as they're going to get a huge run on the exit of 2.
The 42 car got a great pull up to the back of the 14. Everyone now getting kind of nose to tail. The leader's going to come back to the field. The 14's got nowhere to go. Here comes the 54 of Justin Osterman on the outside, has got the momentum. That bottom line's trying to get formed up, but here comes a big push from the 21 entering turn 3.
Huge push, and we're going to have a huge wreck. Paxton Frith goes around headfirst into the wall. Other cars going around. See Jaden Wicks involved as well. Maybe Brendan Brody possibly as well.
We had a former race leader, Christian Key, getting spun around and damaged as well.
So that will be the stage-ending caution out here as the stage does end at lap number 20. But huge hit for Paxton Frith already on pit road. iRacing has said, you have too much damage. So he's got a fast repair, but Don't know that he got the faster pair checked in time. That may be.
I think what it might be is they might
Oh,
need the
he's
tow
still-
truck to get out there.
Yeah. You're exactly right. I always forget that they have that tow first before they reset and use that fast repair. But let's take a look. I saw Paxton Frith start to go around first, so we're gonna look at Paxton Frith and then go from there. All right, you see Paxton Frith here, kind of a little hard to see, but a huge hit from the 21 to the 54. That was the big push that Arie was talking about. And then going down here into turn 3, looks like him and the 14 got together a little bit. Whether the 14 came up, 21 came down, that's the story that race control will have to determine. But we're going to take another look at it and see if we can't get a better idea as to exactly what happened here.
As we get another look here, I bet that 21 car is real thankful for that one faster pair. That was one of the harder hits I've seen. Entering turn 3 right here, just, yeah, both cars come into each other. Tom, if you ask me, I don't know that I can assign blame one way or the other. That's just one of those tight racing into turn 3 deals, and both drivers just kind of meet in the middle. That's how it goes sometimes.
While we're looking at this, couple of cars making their way onto pit road, and yeah, right there you see the contact between the 14 and the 21, which caused the bigger incident. Right behind them, you see the 970 Christian Key, former race leader, going around. See Jaden Wicks going around. See Mike Miller getting some damage out of that. Good job by Nathan Peacock getting through that. But whole bunch of drivers getting put behind the 8 ball here on the second incident caution of the night.
Somewhat lost in all of that chaos there, Tom, is the 54 of Justin Osterman, our race leader and presumably stage 1 winner here, surviving that incident and getting the right move done at the right time. That outside line, like you were saying, it prevailed. It worked out real nice for the 54.
I tell you what, Arie, after the week that Justin had last week at Richmond, I think he came out here with red in his eyes and blood ready to go. I think he was involved in probably 4 or 5 incidents that we saw the 54 going around last week at Richmond. Felt like every time Justin started to make his way forward, you and we put the curse on him, and we said, hey, that 54 is having a great night so far. And almost every time the 54 went around. So Justin Osterman having a quiet night out here tonight, we'll say it that way.
Absolutely, and before we say anything else, we'll move on to somebody else and not curse the 54 2 weeks in a row. I'll tell you what, though, in terms of quiet nights, I think that 42 is starting to sneak up into the picture. We've got Christopher Pugliese, who's starting to show a little bit up here, surviving the incidents, getting up there quietly, but surely at the as we get ready to start stage 2 here. I've kind of got my eyes on that 42. Plus, you know, there's something about red, white, and blue paint schemes under the lights at Daytona, so.
Well, we're seeing the field lineup behind the iRacing.com pace car right now as the field of 16 drivers begins to make their way in line to their proper positions. Still see a couple of cars on pit road. Aiden Shrine, Mike Schaefer, Logan Spencer. Brendan Brody, believe he may just be coming down just for fuel at the moment. Christian Key, all these drivers still on pit road, so several of the race contenders may be getting put behind the 8 ball right here. Looks like Paxton Frith, though, may be the only car 1 lap down. Well, Arie, we saw a whole lot of side drafting. We saw a whole lot of door banging. We saw a couple of incident cautions in stage number 1. Drivers tone it up or they tone it down for stage 2.
You know, if I'm putting money on it, I'm gonna say they probably start to tone it down a little bit. At least if I'm behind the wheel and you know I saw a stage 1 that was that chaotic with that many incidents. Knowing I've got a faster pair, that might change my mind, but more often than not, I'm going to say, okay, everyone's getting a little crazy. We should all tone it down for stage 2 because we've still got most of the race left to run. We're only a fourth of the way done. So let's survive. Let's get through it. Let's at least get to stage 3 before we start worrying too much about track position and go from there. That being said, I do love some track position, so we'll see.
That being said, it's easier for us to say up here than it is for those drivers down there. You get down there and you say, hey, there's the leader. It's only 6 rows in front of me. And I say, let's go, 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 as we say go, go, go for the green flag. In stage number 2, good jump for Justin Osterman. Chris Pugliese, they're going to lead us down into turn number 1 to begin stage 2.
That they are, and that was one of those premier bottom line restarts that kind of breaks up that top line. We saw the 14 dive down to the inside as well, and once you get the first or second car diving down to the inside, there's no more hope for that outside line, and now we see everyone up towards the front, single file.
Something striking my eye here. Big gap here. Not sure if there was an incident on the restart or if these drivers just didn't get caught up, or maybe there's some strategy to this call. But drivers like Brad Holmes, Logan Spencer, Aiden Shrine, Nathan Peacock, about 2.5 seconds off the current race leader of Justin Osterman.
Yeah, that's really interesting to see right on a restart like that. I'm wondering if there was a big checkup or whatnot. But if these race leaders can stay single file like they are, they do have a chance to keep that gap there to that pack behind. If these guys start racing side by side up front, that's going to pull them back. It's going to act as a parachute, and that second pack is going to catch up. So those guys in the back, they're really going to need to make sure they stay single file. And these guys at the front, they're going to have to try and use this advantage.
It's not super uncommon to see multiple packs here at Daytona, but I would say it is pretty uncommon to see what we're seeing
Justin
here.
Osterman pulled out of line and kind of slowed down a bit.
I think there's a lot of drivers maybe saving fuel. Maybe they're a little bit closer on fuel than we previously anticipated. Because remember, we didn't run to lap 21. We ran to lap 19. So that kind of adds an additional lap or two on fuel for these drivers.
That is absolutely correct. There's a late block by the 14 of Daniel Scruggs down to the bottom, causes a massive accordion effect. Glad to still be pointing straight are all these drivers after that one. That was real close, but I think you're absolutely right. I think he hit the nail on the head there about fuel savings. I think that's the only time you're going to see the race leader pull up to the high line and just let the next 4 cars go by, is to try and get in that draft and save some fuel. So it's going to be interesting. How much fuel do people decide to save versus how high up do they want to run in the order?
We see a couple of drivers continuing their march to the back of the pack. Chris Pugliese, Chris Lawrence right behind him as these drivers continue to fall in the beginning laps of stage number 2, but really kind of a separated pack out here. Arie, we see 3 cars right up on the outside line being led by Brad Holmes, Jaden Wicks, Logan Spencer, and now Aiden Shrine, making it a 4-car race up towards the top line, but everybody else kind of hanging out single file down on the bottom. Really weird look to the beginning of stage 2.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more interesting starts to the stage that I've seen. Is you can just see when a driver wants to get to the front, just look at the way Brad Holmes can just slice and dice through the field. That's how you can tell that nobody around Brad Holmes is running full throttle. If you want to go up there and take the lead, you can do it because everyone wants to save some fuel.
Well, put double the 0-0 Chevy Camaro up to the front of the field, as now he's going to begin to work both lanes a little bit, work the bottom lane, work the top lane, try to figure out which lane is coming. And right now he's going to be holding down onto the inside line in front of, I want to say, is that Christian? Or no, that is that the 77 of Roy Hill right behind him?
That it is indeed. As that high line is starting to get real linked up. And they're formed up a whole lot better than that bottom. I wonder if these guys are going to try and get that train out front.
Good run by the 38 up on the top line. Every week, Arie, I feel like the 38 is one of the drivers that's always finds its way up towards the front at the end of the race, or maybe in the middle of the race, and being a competitor, but not always getting quite the finishes. Finishing where he races. So 38 and that blue and yellow Dale Earnhardt inspired Ford Mustang down the backstretch here, setting the pace.
I think you got a good point there with the 38. And who knows, maybe tonight's the night, but has shown some flashes at times. Just needs to be there at the end, at the right time. It looks like we're, I don't even know how to call it at this point, Tom. In one lap we're side by side all the way back, and the next lap we're single file, and who knows what we're doing. But either way, I'm really excited to see how the fuel plays out.
Well, it's difficult because, like, if you're the third car in line behind somebody and they decide, hey, we're going to drop down, we're going to single file out, now you see Mike Schaefer in that 29 machine, he's going to lose several spots as he tries to pick up the next available opening on on track right here. But Jaden Wicks fighting for the lead on the backstretch here. He's got help from Logan Spencer, and those two drivers are going to go to the lead.
That they are, those two working together to get out front of the 38. Going to dive back down towards the bottom. We got a lap car coming up right here. Everyone should be able to get by relatively easily. Got some too wide back there, make it 3 in a minute here, but I'm assuming we went through nicely.
This is the lap car of Christian Key, former race leader, going 3 laps down in that 970 machine. Tough start to the night for the 970. Was leading early in stage number 1 and has now kind of found his way behind the 8 ball. But with a couple of cautions, if that 970 is still got a fairly clean car, not out of contention. I mean, we know we're going to get at least one more caution. Paxton Frith in position to get that free pass on lap number 40, assuming that nobody else goes a lap down. Christian's going to need some help to get back up on the lead lap, but here at Daytona, anything is possible.
That it is, and we've seen crazier things happen out there. On that last lap, we saw the 38 car fall back a bunch. Gary Miller all the way back to 8th place. Now still trying to make something happen on the outside. I wonder if Gary is just trying to get that second lane going, but nobody wants to make it work. And that's all the way back towards the back half of the top 10 for the 38 as Jaden Wicks continues to lead ahead of Logan Spencer in second place, Brad Holmes in 3rd, and Mike Schaefer, the 29, quietly up there in 4th.
Now let's go on board. I want to take a ride around here with, like, let's say Justin Osterman right now. Want to hear how much he's playing with the throttle, if he's saving any fuel here. Obviously, you're not going to be saving fuel if you're doing things like that, but had to get up out of the gas, a little bit of a checkup, maybe a little bit of contact there on the inside line, but was curious if he was saving fuel, because he's one of the drivers that I really noticed going backwards at the start of stage 2 here, currently running back in 7th place from restarting on the front row.
Absolutely, and one of the benefits that Justin might have in a situation like this is just how early he started to save fuel. It was pretty much right away at the start of the stage that Justin decided, okay, I'm giving up the lead, I want to be in the draft, I want to save fuel. The longer you spend saving fuel, the better off you are for the entire run. You don't have to drive as slowly as everybody else, and when the end of the run comes, you have a little bit more that you can use.
You see this push from the 87 of Aiden Shrine to the back of the 29 Mike Schaefer. That's a dangerous push to be given, going through the corners as a couple of cars are moving around there a little bit. But Mike Schaefer, and now Aiden Shrine says, yeah, I'm just going to drop down here and take that spot away from you. Thanks for getting me through there. That's going to allow Mike Schaefer to fall in line, likely behind the 87, unless Daniel Scruggs gets there before him.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, we've got some pit stops that are about to be underway. Some drivers electing not to save fuel. We got 4 cars pulling off towards pit road. Will they get on clean? Oh, sideways for Justin Osterman. Keeps it going straight. Good and clean.
Roy Hill, Justin Osterman, Daniel Scruggs, Christopher Pugliese, a group of 4 drivers coming down onto pit road. Now it's going to be interesting to watch what the other drivers do if they decide to come down this time. I like the look of this front pack. I think that they're pretty well formed together, that they may be able to stay out for an additional lap or 2, maybe put some distance on there as Brad Holmes jumps out. But we'll see if they decide to come down this lap, next lap, or maybe towards the end of the stage.
Absolutely, and I was going to say that these guys are formed up real nice to beat that train of 4, but now here we are running two different lanes up here with the leaders, and that's just going to slow these guys down as those 4 cars will presumably get off the pit road together and get right in a line. So those 4 might have an advantage despite having fewer cars. We'll see how it goes. We got the front pack 3 and 3, 4 and 3. So it's interesting, Tom. I don't know if I'd be racing this hard if I were these guys.
Want to take a quick look here. Don't want to go too far from the action, but I think maybe Chris Pugliese had an issue on his pit service here. He was only in his pit box for 2 seconds. That's what timing and scoring is telling us here. But I'm showing that he exited pit road twice, so I'm wondering maybe if he had a little bit of a spin on the exit of pit road. But still keeping an eye on the leaders. Nobody pitting yet. But we're gonna get right back to the live action here. Just taking a look at the 42, seeing if he had an issue on the exit of pit road. Don't believe so. Looks pretty clean for the 42.
That it did, and back up front with the race leaders right here. Jaden Wick still in first as they're going to be catching some of those drivers who just pit. So we have our answer now. Those guys who pit under green are going to go a lap down.
What happened to Justin Osterman? Justin is in a field of his own right now.
He is. He must have had a good pit stop compared to the rest of the guys who pulled off right there, and he doesn't have any drafting help, so he's really going to get swallowed up. And what this is going to end up doing is that better pit stop's going to put him at the back of everybody because those other guys got swallowed up into the draft already.
And that's a really difficult challenge to overcome when you're first down on pit road. Realistically, you should come out in front of them, assuming you don't speed, you take 4 tires, you have no issues on pit road. The delta around this track is about 4, maybe 6 seconds. So you see that backpack behind this main pack right here of those 3 or 4 cars back there. That's about the distance that you would look to be staying in front of the lead pack. But once that lead pack is able to overtake your round of green flag pit stops, it makes it very difficult to gain that time back up. Even when they do have to pit a second time.
That is absolutely correct. And hey, I think green flag pit stops at a drafting track are some of the most chaotic green flag pit stops you'll get, and it's one of my favorite places to have them happen. As we see Brad Holmes nearly clear himself off of the front of Jaden Wicks right there. That was almost really bad, but everyone keeps it going. Jaden Wicks with the blink right there. A little bit of connection issues and. Wow, that was close.
Yeah, take a quick look then there, and he says, I'm coming down. Hope you're not there. But big moment for Jaden Wicks, Brad Holmes down there. But they keep it clean and green as we continue our charge around here. 37 laps going to begin, lap number 38.
Well, we've got this pack all kind of formed together, but it is a weird situation. We've got the 14 car in front of this pack. The 14 car is not in the race lead, but instead the last car on the lead lap as we run, just trying to stay in that position as we've got the 54 of Justin Osterman trying to stay in position for the free pass, but the 77 is battling for that free pass. This is all jumbled up, Tom.
Here's another thing that we need to keep in mind, right? Pit road closes likely 2 laps to go in each stage. If they don't come down this lap, I don't think they can come down on 40 if they need to. Granted, I mean, the stage ends at 40, but Daniel Scruggs, big moment for the 14. Is he going to save?
Gets on the apron, slides down to the inside and hits the wall. The 14 got some serious damage with that one. That's
Daniel Scruggs goes around, hard hit. That's going to be a toe link or 2 on the rear of that 14.
That it is. That it is, and we've got the 14 trying to turn it back down to pit road. Cannot turn that car. That front left is caked in. Daniel Scruggs is on the tri-oval right now, way under pace speed at about 120 miles an hour, trying to limp this car back around. But that thing is all skewed out. That front left is real broken. Trying to just nurse it back.
Driver in the free pass position right now is Paxton Frith in the number 21 machine. First car that's 1 lap down, as long as they don't have an incident when the caution comes out, will get the free pass, get back up on the lead lap. Right now, that position belongs to the number 21, second in line on the inside line behind Brad Holmes. But I mean, you got some other drivers up here trying to get their spots back.
That you do, and I'm monitoring the situation here. The 14 car limping around the track is in turn 3 and 4, just exiting now, way off the pace, but it does look like he's going to have enough time to get back on the front and get off the track. He cannot keep that car under control, and we get a real close call with the 24 and the 970, but it looks like they limp it across the line.
And coming out of turn number 4, Brad Holmes sees the checkered flag in sight. A little bit of a push from behind, from in front, but Brad Holmes going to win stage number 2. Paxton Frith in position for the free pass here. To get back up on the lead lap. Currently running 11th for that number 21 Ford Mustang Vodafone car that he's got out here. New colors for the 21. Going to be interesting to see if iRacing allows him to take the free pass. I believe I saw a bump or two after the start-finish line, which would, in the iRacing world, invalidate the free pass position that Paxton is currently in.
It'll be an interesting story to follow as double-double Brad Holmes brings us to the caution with a good performance there in stage 2, gets some stage points. Looks like the fuel was saved appropriately for most of these drivers, and the 4 that did have to come down halfway through the stage, they're probably kicking themselves just a little bit right now.
So race leader right now, Brad Holmes, behind the iRacing.com pace car. He's got Paxton Frith in between him and second place Mike Schaefer. Or he's actually got 2 or 3 cars in between him and second place. That really benefits Brad Holmes because now he can come in, not have to worry about speeding. And you look at the distance. He's got about 6 car lanes right now that he's got over the 29. And that really helps out the pit stop strategy. Doesn't have to worry about making a mistake or maybe slide in the box or anything like that. But a huge gap coming down pit road for the top 2 or 3.
Always nice to see as the race leader having some of those lap cars to buffer back to everyone else and see everyone getting down, pulled into their pit stalls nice and good as we're getting ready for the second half of the race right here. What do you think is going to happen to the intensity on the restart here, Tom?
I think what you saw on the beginning of stage 2 is just a dress rehearsal for the final 35 laps or so that we're going to have in our final run to the stage. But 2 stages down, 2 stages away, 42 laps down. We got a little bit under half the race to go. We're going to step aside for just a moment. We're going to get this field restacked, repacked, and get set to go racing once again here from the CyberThunder Broadcast Network. All right, back at it here from Daytona. The lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car, so we get set to go racing for the second half of tonight's event from the World Center of Racing. Regular season finale. Arie, we were talking about the upcoming races for these drivers that they got coming up over the next couple of weeks. They've got the challenging tracks of Darlington Raceway next week, the track that's too tough to tame, followed by Gateway and then Bristol Motor Speedway, a short track to start the round of 16.
I tell you what, Tom, it's a great lineup of tracks, and I'm looking forward to Darlington quite a bit. I think I mentioned it before, but Darlington is going to be a real test of who's going to go out there and lay down the pace to contend for a championship. But I tell you what, Bristol should be a whole lot of fun.
I think you're a little bit sad on the inside that you're not racing Darlington next week. I know that Darlington is one of your favorite tracks, and you got coaxed into being up here in the broadcast booth at the track that's too tough to tame. The Lady in Black, whatever you want to call it, just respect the track because it will certainly grab you to start their playoffs.
It will, and I think a little bit is an understatement, but I had a good chuckle when the opportunity was there for me to potentially race Darlington, and Matt Semple was joking around about somebody please get Arie to broadcast it instead. So take that as a compliment, I suppose, and I'll get to call my favorite track from up in the booth. So that'll be a fun opportunity next week for the start of the playoffs. But we're getting ready, Tom, to rack them and stack them for the final run to the finish.
You see this long inside line here. That tells me a lot of drivers came down on the one to go while we were under caution. Maybe topped up off on fuel. If you come down on the one to go, you do have to start at the tail end of the longest line, and it doesn't start you double file. So all those drivers likely came down on the one to go, maybe got an extra lap of fuel in those machines. But stage number 3 on the way, being led by Brad Holmes, Logan Spencer, Gary Miller, and Aiden Shrine, currently your top 4.
On the way and underway is we see the 38 car of Gary Miller back into the picture, going to jump outside ahead of the 87 car. They're going to try and lead one of these lines as it looks like all these drivers are ready to get back to some 2x2x2 action. Get these lines formed up just a little bit as we enter turns 3 and 4.
And you see the 87 all up on the back of that 38 machine, giving them the back bumper massage coming through the 31-degree corner of turns 3 and 4 as they come through. Aiden Shrine, I think, has been putting out the most aggressive, safe bumps we've seen of maybe any driver out here tonight. We'll take a quick ride on board, and I would not want to be between those two cars right now.
No, I don't even think you could fit a piece of paper between those two cars, and I think this is also a really good time, really good perspective on these next-gen cars and bump drafting, because that forward rear bumper is not flat. That is a curved rear bumper, same with the Chevrolet body. However, the Toyotas have the advantage. Their front bumper and their rear bumper flattens out in a nice way that the bumps can happen a lot more common. So what we'll see sometimes in these next-gen race cars is with the Fords or the Chevys, you might get a bad bump, or it might normally be a good bump at a bad time with these cars specifically. And that's one of the reasons I enjoy driving a Toyota when I'm behind the wheel, because I don't have to worry about it. So it's something to keep an eye on here, Tom, as we go through the closing laps of this race.
Well, while we were talking about that, new leader of the outside lane, Mike Miller, makes his name known for the first time out here in that bright green and black Ford Mustang out there, leading the way on the outside line. Mike Miller trying to make some headway in front of Gary Miller, the 38. Not sure of the relation there, but always good to see family members working together on the track.
That it is, and it looks like the 24 is going to have a real good shot to get a nose ahead by the time we get to the line here. That bottom line breaks up just a little bit. Race leader's a little loose, and that 24 is going to have a shot at it, but Brad Holmes gets the push just in time. Give it to the 00 at the line, I do believe. But that outside line, they are building themselves up and becoming quite the force to be reckoned with.
The outside lane's got a little bit more form line right now. See Brad Holmes, a lot of daylight in between him and Logan Spencer, and then even farther behind him of, I want to say that's Roy Hill, the third car on the inside lane. But you can see the outside lane moving and cooking with gas as the top two of Miller's, they're going to drop down in front of Brad Holmes, and they're going to take the lead and control the bottom line as Brad Holmes tries to situate himself on the bottom side.
Looks like Mike Miller and Gary Miller are going to be leading the pack across the line here as we complete lap number 47. That outside line starting to dissipate just a little bit. It's a real interesting thing to watch, Tom, just how quickly that outside line can form and just how quickly it can disappear. But one thing is for sure, that bottom line, that is always going to be there.
see the field of 16 drivers flashing by. That's how fast they come by at 194, 195 miles an hour. Down the backstretch here now, Brad Holmes getting a big push. Logan Spencer. Those drivers have moved from the bottom lane to the outside lane, and they're going to try to once again control this race. But when you're on the outside lane, you get the benefit of using the side draft to your advantage a little bit, and that's not gonna make your car any faster, but it's gonna drag the car that's on the inside of you down and back towards you a little bit. So you see Brad Holmes trying to slim down on the inside lane. That's what he's trying to do, trying to put some air on the right rear quarter panel, and that would certainly help the aerodynamics for the 0-0.
Absolutely.
Brad's having some issues right now.
Yeah, it looks like Brad Holmes has fallen back quite a bit. Point out real quick that the 21 of Paxton Frith came down solo car on pit road, getting some tires changed right now, so we'll have to keep tabs on that if that was scheduled or otherwise, but not going to have any draft assistance for the 21 when he gets back out on track. But up here in the battle for the lead, it's still the Miller and Miller show as the back half of this pack is getting real dicey.
Aiden Trine getting left out to dry like laundry in the backyard. Looked like Jaden Wicks did jump up there for a quick second, but then decided to jump down onto the inside lane. Now Aiden Trine looking about 2 car lengths in his rearview mirror before he sees Chris Lawrence in that number 10 Chevy Camaro come back up to try to make some help up on the outside lane. Got a lap car that we're going to be coming up on here. I think, is that Paxton? I want to say that is Paxton, yep. Yeah. Looks like Paxton's going to be holding the inside line down here in turns 3 and 4, and the field's going to make their way around the outside of that 21. Put Paxton 1 lap down. Again, still in position for the free pass, but been a long night for the 21.
That it has, and hopefully we can get it turned around as we get into the later stages of this race right here. But it looks like that bottom line, 3 cars strong, and as everyone tried to get around the lap car, that makes that outside line real strong. It's got all the cars, all that momentum. If they can get a little bit closer to one another, they can potentially run around those bottom feeders. As we've got the 29 of Mike Schaefer leading that outside, going to get a huge push from Jada Wicks down the backstretch. That might be enough to even it out into turn number 3.
And you look at the difference in the gaps right there. No gaps on the outside line between the 9 and the 29, but there was a huge gap between the 24-38. That's what you saw at the outside lane take their run. That's the momentum and the power of the draft here at Daytona, as Mike Miller continues to hold off Mike Schaefer with the push from Jaden Wicks right behind him.
Absolutely, and looking a little further back, Justin Osterman is not a fan of the 21 of Paxton Frith at the moment. They have been, gets Brad Holmes turned around. I was just going to mention how they've been 3 wide for about 2 laps straight.
Brad Holmes goes around. I saw the 21 go around. Who else is around back here? Is it looks like Christian Key had a moment. Looks like Logan Spencer, Brendan Brody, those drivers possibly going around. See terminal damage on the 89 machine of Logan Spencer right now. He's going to come down, have to use his fast repair if he has not already done so. But let's take a look and see if we can't find out exactly what happened here. On this most recent caution, you see him enter into turn number 3. Brad Holmes comes down the track about 1/4 of a lane there. Let's take another look.
Yeah, it looks to me, Tom, like Brad Holmes was just not fully ready to be 3 wide, so to say. And maybe it wasn't called 3 wide by his spotter because the 21 wasn't to the inside of the 00, but they were just at enough of a diagonal angle that they were running a 3 wide lane. And so Brad Holmes might not have heard 3 wide, but Justin Osterman is in the middle because Justin Osterman is 3 wide. And that could be one of those little miscommunications, especially if you don't have a live real spotter in your ear to kind of help you out in these really weird niche situations. So I don't think Brad Holmes is doing anything nefarious there trying to squeeze anyone. I think that might just be a little miscommunication from the spotter.
Well, you take a look at the difference right here on board with the 00 right now behind the Savannah Bananas. They were just in Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. But Brad Holmes, you see the line difference of the Chris Lawrence machine in front of him and whoever else is in front of Chris. The difference in the line that they were taking. So I think that's probably what Justin was expecting him to do, was to ride the flow of the outside lane, and that's the result of drivers trying to. I mean, the give and take turns into a grab and go the later we get into the race, Arie.
I do like that little catchphrase that I've heard you use on a couple different occasions now. Grab and go. I do like that. That's a good way to put it.
Don't be using it.
I won't. I don't dare steal it. You said it first, so I'll have to come up with my own. But that there's a number of drivers who are feeling pretty good that didn't happen a little further up with how close the pack was. That was a little further back in it, and while it did collect a number of drivers that, of course, could have been worse, and we're still kind of holding our breath for, if we're gonna get that incident that happens at these drafting tracks, dare I say it, where most of the field gets involved. So far, so good, as we look to see how the field shakes out on pit exit.
Race leader off of pit road, Chris Lawrence in the number 10 machine, shakes it up in that Savannah Bananas car. You ever seen any of their videos online, Arie?
I've never heard of Savannah Bananas, but I could listen to you say Savannah Bananas all night.
I'll send you some videos later. A cool little baseball team that they got. They do all sorts of like tricks, and they do dances and whatnot. It's a real baseball game, but they turn it into a very fun family event.
That sounds like a good time.
But off of pit road, working lap number 54 underneath the yellow flag condition here for the fourth caution out here tonight. Chris Lawrence, currently your race leader. Roy Hill, the third. Mike Schaefer, Brad Holmes, Justin Osterman, currently your top 5 drivers. As we get set to go, and we're going to see just about 25 laps to go here once we do finally get the green flag from this most recent caution.
I tell you what, this is going to put us in another interesting fuel position.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be looking at a one-stopper from here. But, I mean, you can think all you want. We won't know for sure until we see it.
Brad Holmes looks like he is the sole driver to come back down pit road on lap number 55. And what you just brought up is a very good point. I mean, you talk about fuel. I mean, we would need a long green flag run in order for it to for this to play out for the 0-0, but we saw stage 1 go green all the way. We saw stage 2 go green most of the way. Stage 1 had a couple of incident cautions. Maybe Brad is thinking that a couple of these drivers have already used their fast repairs. Some of the tires, they don't have them anymore. Maybe he's thinking that drivers are just going to try to knock out these next 24, 25 laps, and we'll settle it within 5 to go.
I'll tell you what, Tom, one thing is for sure. If I'm watching a race, I can eat the fuel strategy up. I love it. If I'm behind the wheel, I hate it. Get it out of here. I don't ever want to do it. And I'm sure there's a lot of these drivers who might be thinking the same way. And it'll be interesting to see if we get something similar to what we saw at the start of stage 2, where everyone's just kind of running at 70%. And if you want to go take the lead, it's theirs for the take, and nobody's going to fight you for it. So it'll be interesting. I don't think we'll see that. I think it's too late in the race. I think you might see some drivers who aren't willing to give up so much time saving when they could be leading the race this close to the finish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to see the different strategies that we've got out here and who decides maybe not to go just yet. But we're about to find out as the lights are out off the iRacing.com pace car, and we're about to go green flag racing once again here from the World Center of Racing.
Looks like the last few stragglers of the field are going to catch up just in time for the pace car to pull off. Chris Lawrence, Royal the third, going to lead us to the green. Good jump for that bottom line right there. And we actually see a car change the lanes down to the bottom before we get to the line. Unsure of the rules on that one, but the 10 car of Chris Lawrence healthily away in the lead.
Chris Lawrence, Mike Schaefer, Chris Pugliese, a couple of drivers we've seen with incidents out here tonight, making their way through turns 1 and 2, working as we see 25 laps to go here from Daytona, halfway down the backstretch. 3 cars, 4 cars, 5 cars on the inside before you find the first car up on the outside. That's going to be Gary Miller in that 38 machine. He's got Justin Osterman poking up, looking to go with him. Maybe mount him charged.
Yeah, it looks like we've got 2 of the more antsy drivers ready to go out and go and take that lead if they can get some more help. But right now, they are kind of drowning as that bottom line is formed up very good at this point, and it looks like a lot of these guys on the bottom line might be ready to kind of get themselves in a little position where they just ride for a bit. They're close enough to the front that they feel comfortable. They don't need to force the issue and get aggressive. And if they keep riding just like this, they're going to make it hard for anyone else to get up there and challenge them.
Well, you say that. One driver you were just talking about not being aggressive, Mike Miller, went from the bottom lane to the top lane. Now he's going to be left by Gary Miller. But Mike Miller just jumped up in hopes to get that outside lane formed up, and not going to make this run work as he's currently running back in 10th. He's going to single file back in behind this train of cars. But it seems like we've seen so many drivers jump up there, Arie, and try to be the first one to make the run. But then somebody else says, hey, you know what, maybe not right now. We'll do it another lap or two, and we'll try it again.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love when it comes to these drafting races is the amount of times that you'll see a driver say, okay, guys, I'll do it, and nobody follows him. And one of the people who said no a lap later, okay, guys, I'll do it. And you just get a lot of drivers who don't want to be the ones pushing the outside. They want to be the ones leading the outside. And eventually, you need somebody to be willing to push.
Looks like Mike Miller just had an incident out here. Let's see if we can't see exactly what happened to Mike. Down here on the backstretch, looks like he's going to come to a stop and get back to pit road.
One thing I've noticed up here with the race leaders, Tom, is that, we're going to get a clip, and that's going to be the 98. Oh, man, we got a couple cars involved.
The 54 involved, the 98 involved. Looks like everybody else gets through as clean as they possibly can, but the 98, Brendan Brody, Justin Osterman, and the number 54 drivers involved in this most recent yellow flag. I have a sneaking suspicion, Arie, that this may have been a push going bad, but let's find out together and find out exactly what happened here.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, I was just going to point out that the 72 car was keeping a really big gap between his front bumper and the rear bumper of third place. And I think I saw a stack up with the 72 checking up to keep that gap there. The rest of the field behind him wasn't quite ready. Not sure if we've got a good angle of it, but I got a theory that it may have started from a bit of a checkup there, trying to manage a gap.
Well, you take a good look at it here from this camera angle, and you can just see the bumps working their way backwards in the line. It's never good when the bumps are working their way backwards.
Nope, you only want to see bumps moving forward, and if they move backwards and you somehow survive, it's been a lucky day for you. But yeah, this is a textbook little accordion right here, and when that's happening, one of the drivers involved is going to end up being the one to go around, and you don't want to be at the back end of that because you're probably going to get clipped in the chaos.
It's kind of just one of those things of super speedway racing, right? Somebody gets out of the gas, they see something, the driver behind you doesn't see it, and then they're into the back of you, and now they're hitting the... It's really just kind of a huge accordion effect, but kind of just the product of super speedway racing, unfortunately.
It absolutely is. There's a number of times I feel like we've we've said that, but this type of racing is just so different. It's the most different type of racing that I feel like we experience, even compared to something like a short track or what have you. There's just so many of these little details and little things that you have to account for when you come to Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta Superspeedway, what have you, and you gotta be ready for it all, and oftentimes that makes a difference between the drivers who can't quite figure it out here and the drivers who are always up towards the front here. Is just keeping in mind all those little factors and being ready for them.
So now here's a fun little thing to take a look at here as we're following Justin Osterman around on pit road right here. So Gary Miller, let's see if we can't pull up a few more drivers in our box right here. So that's the difference in drivers that just pitted on this lap right here. Lap 53, that is where these drivers most recently pitted. So you could see the difference, about 7-8 lap better tires between Paxton Frith running 15th place, but you can see the fuel difference is the important part of this between 7th and 8th place. That's the line in the sand where drivers came back down onto pit road, got some fuel, and I would say that they are likely, Gary Miller, Justin Osterman, Christian Key, likely fine on fuel for the remainder of this race.
I would tend to lean so, especially if we're going to get a green flag run to the end. I really like the decision to come down and take fuel right here, because no matter where you're running on the track right now, one thing you know for certain is that if you came down to take fuel, you are in the window. You have a good shot of making it to the end should it go green. If you stay out on track, yeah, you've got the track position, but no matter what, you've got a pit. And if it goes green, that's going to be a worst case scenario for you. So I really like the idea to pit. It might be close. It might be tight. They might have to save fuel, but I like that a lot better than these guys who elected to stay out for the track position.
Well, one more caution, and I think the drivers that came down on the previous caution, lap 53 there, see Mike Schaefer, Chris Pugliese, Daniel Scruggs, Roy Hill III. I think one more caution, and they are probably okay, not to worry. But don't forget the green-white checkers as well. I mean, that could add an additional probably about 15 miles or 7 or 8 laps.
Absolutely can. We've seen it many times before here at the Daytona International Raceway, and Super Speedway, I don't know what they call it anymore, but you know, we've seen a lot of it. Overtimes are maybe the most common here in at Talladega, so you got to be ready for it. And tell you what, those drivers up front, they're gonna be open for a couple quick cautions here, a couple quick yellows to get us to the end, allow them to save some fuel and allow them to keep their good track position.
Checking out into our YouTube chat box before we go green here. Under 20 laps to go. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday night. Thanks for hanging out with Arie and I here on the CyberThunder Broadcast Network. We're going to be here every Wednesday evening for the remainder of their playoff races that they've got going on. So shout out your favorite drivers. Seen some drivers picked out there. See some picks for Jaden Wicks. See Matt Semple checking in from the hospital. Hope Matt everything is doing well. Dean, Jeff, all the drivers and their fans and their family members and their friends checking in to the YouTube chat box out here tonight. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday night, but it's about time to go racing once again.
That it is inside of 20 laps to go. We're going to get the pace car pulling off, making that hard left-hand turn down to the pit road. Chris Lawrence in the 10 car, Mike Schaefer in the 29. Into the restart zone we go. Great launch for the 10 of Chris Lawrence. Gonna lead us across the line, and we are a go to the finish.
Interesting notation, Arie, that I've seen for the past couple of restarts. Typically at a super speedway, the leader would even though the leader can control the restart, the leader has been going on their own and allowing a little bit of a gap, allowing maybe some of the field to get single file. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It allows it to get single file, but if they get single file and they decide that they're going to go when they get to you, you're a sitting duck.
Yeah, that is exactly right, and that is exactly why I like to go at the last possible moment, right when the flagman throws that green flag. I don't usually want too big of a jump at a track like this. Now, it is situational. You know, if there's, if I got some people that I like around me, maybe mixed up on the high line or bottom line or whatever, and it benefits us to maybe, get a good jump on the restart, sure. But most often, I want to keep that pack tightly formed. I don't want to give the drivers behind me a chance to just leave me out to dry.
The opposite side of that, though, is that if you wait until the last possible second, that keeps, more times than not, that'll keep the outside lane right to your outside instead of allowing it to go single file immediately. So 6 of one, half of another, what do you want, But now down the backstretch here, Daniel Scruggs leading the outside lane here, trying to get some help from Brad Holmes in that 0-0 machine. Logan Spencer trying to come through and be the first to the outside lane, and they may be unless Chris Pugliese has other ideas. Looks like he was thinking about popping up. Not going to do it just yet.
Not yet, but these drivers are getting dicey. That pay window is open, and these guys know it. Some of these pushes are getting aggressive. We could see some cars getting loose, hard to handle, as we are now down to 16 laps remaining. Chris Lawrence and the 10 car still comfortably out front of the field in control of this race, but we'll see if that 14 on the high side can get a nose up there and get side by side with our race leader.
See big pushes from the outside lane. Brad Holmes giving Daniel Scruggs a back bumper massage as they go into turn number 3. Brad Holmes all over the back of Daniel Scruggs. Mike Schaefer, Chris Lawrence on the bottom lane trying to hold on and use that momentum, any momentum that they can possibly use on the bottom lane. As the top lane, I think they've definitely got the advantage right now.
They do, but one thing I might start to get a little concerned about is some of the blinking I'm seeing out of the 00, the pusher on the high side right there. Hopefully that is a situation that gets under control. But it looks to me like that 29 car, second in line on the bottom, Mike Schaefer is doing a phenomenal job of being that first pusher in line on the bottom, trying to keep that 10 car with the advantage. But look, we got a big accordion on the bottom, and that might be just enough for the 14 to clear. New race leader, Daniel Scruggs.
And it is, and Daniel Scruggs takes the race lead, and he's going to leave the 0-0 of Brad Holmes out on the outside lane all by himself. He's got Logan Spencer right behind him, Aiden Shrine, 2 car lanes behind. Logan Spencer not on the lead lap, so that 89 machine, second car on the outside lane, now third car on the outside lane, not for position. Next car for position behind Brad Holmes is the 87 of Aiden Shrine.
We saw a real good time block by the 29. Bit of a late block if you're Brad Holmes behind the wheel, but the 29 going to jump out to that outside line and lead. Everyone kept it going, kept it straight. We're going to see if that 10 car jumps out in front again to retake the lead. Not by the looks of it so far. It's going to be the 14 car of Daniel Scruggs leading into turn 3. The 10 right on his bumper is we're 3 wide back in the pack.
Back in the pack, contact back in the pack. Logan Spencer's going to go around. As I had the wrong camera keyed up, Logan Spencer goes around, and that's going to be our caution again for the evening. Yellow flag out over the Speedway. Damage on that 89 machine. You see it on the right front fender of that 89. That is, that's pretty significant damage.
That it is, and it looks like Aiden Shrine in the 87 also got a pretty good amount of damage from that incident as well. Towards the back end of it, could not avoid the carnage and took a big hit to the front left, so we'll have to keep an eye on that for the 87 as well.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of daylight right there in between the hood and the left front fender for the 87. Think he'll still be okay. These next gens can pretty well can take a lot of damage before it becomes a huge issue. But let's see if we can't find the actual incident here and see what happens between Aiden Shrine and Logan Spencer. See Aiden Shrine pushing the back of the 87. Oh no, the 77's actually going to come up.
Yeah, it looked like the 77 bounced off of a car on the bottom and kind of lost control a little bit, swung up high on the track and just nowhere to go when you're kind of the ping pong ball in the middle of the 3 lanes going 200 miles an hour. There's not much you can do to keep the car under control.
He actually had a little bit of contact. Let's try to get one more look at it. He had a little bit of contact between him and the 21. You're going to see Roy Hill III come down a little bit, or get down there onto the inside, and a little bit of contact between the 77-21, and that's all it takes to send the 77 up into the 89 of Logan Spencer, and that's going to give Logan some serious damage.
That it is, and that was almost real bad for the 54 of Justin Austin. And it's a good thing we stopped talking about Justin earlier to prevent that from happening. And back up front, it is still the 14 of Daniel Scruggs leading this race. Chris Lawrence in second place. I do not believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but I do not believe we saw any of our race leaders come down for fuel.
That is correct. First car on pit road, Brendan Brody, Aiden Shrine, Aiden involved in that incident. So those are the only 2 cars that are on the lead lap that came down. Logan Spencer and Jaden Wicks have been on pit road. They come down, try to get some damage fixed. on that 89 machine, but 2 drivers on lead lap that came down for this most recent caution, 98 and 87.
Well, this is going to put us right about on the mark of 10 to go by the time we restart this race. What are you thinking, Tom? Are we going to have to use any of those overtimes?
Well, I don't want to put it out there, but I want to say there's a pretty good chance with what we've seen from stage 1, stage 2, and now the end of stage number 3 here. The intensity, it's not going to go down. I can promise you that. I can't promise you a green, white, checkered, but I can promise you the intensity is not going to go down.
You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. I think we're going to have an intense run to the finish right here. Now, here's another question for you, Tom. Out of our contenders still left in this battle, who are you circling?
Oh, man. I'm going to take, I don't know if he's considered a sleeper around here. I'm going to say probably Gary Miller. Quiet driver that we never really see have the finishes. I was kind of talking him up a little bit ago. I think tonight is the night for the 38 machine.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I've got my eyes on double back there, Brad Holmes in the 00. I think he's quick enough, aggressive enough, and I think he probably wants it enough. We know Brad and Matt are good buddies, and Matt got one over on Brad last week, and Brad had to admit defeat there. So Brad's going to want to come out here and get back to the winning ways going into the playoffs, and I can see it happening. I can see it happening. But we've got a lot of drivers still in it, a lot of drivers who can go out there and prove us two wrong. What do we know up here in the booth as we get ready to restart with 10 laps to go?
Looks like a couple of battles over position here underneath the yellow flag as we've got 11 laps to go. We're going to see 10 laps to go over Daytona International Speedway for the regular season finale of the Friggy Diggy Racing League. Out here tonight, again next week, we're at Darlington, followed by Gateway, Bristol, to begin their playoffs and see who gets the championship at the end of these next 10 races. It's going to be a good one to follow along, and we're glad to do it every Wednesday night here on the CyberThunder Broadcast Network. Looking forward to calling these playoffs. They're going to be a fun one.
That they are indeed. Well, tell you what, Tom, I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to give it 6 laps before we get a caution. I think that intensity is going to ramp up. I'm going to call it with 4 laps to go. That's my number, but we'll see. Hopefully we get a green run to the finish. 14 car, 10 car, ready to lead us off.
And you see Mike Schaefer all over the back of Chris Lawrence. If I'm Chris Lawrence, I love it. Get right up on me, get set to go, and push me on the restart. I don't want to see any daylight in between me and the car behind me. I don't care if you wreck me. Just get up there and don't give the outside line a disadvantage on the restart here. Chris Lawrence has a pretty good restart up on the outside line. Does put some daylight in between him and the 29 and Mike Schaefer, as they're going to come down here into turn number 1. But Mike Schaefer coming back strong and going to give a big push on the entry to turn 1 to the 10.
Absolutely. I think the car with the best restart right there was Brad Holmes. Stayed glued to the 42 car. That kept the bottom line in it because that top line got a pretty decent restart. They are all about level now. As we head down towards the back, we can see the cars behind the leaders start to accordion up to their rear bumpers as everyone gets tightly wound back together in this pack. The leader now, Chris Lawrence into turn 3, but here comes the 29 down to the bottom, Mike Schaefer to lead the bottom to the race lead.
Huge drop for Mike Schaefer in that number 29 machine. He got Chris Lawrence cleared for the race lead, and before Chris could do anything about it, the 29 pressed the down button on the elevator, and he went down in front of Daniel Scruggs. Takes the race lead, new leader number 29, as there's contact behind him. Justin Osserman involved, Logan Spencer involved, other drivers involved, possibly the 970 of Christian Key. Kind of just clicking around here. Logan Spencer, Christopher Pugliese, possibly. All right, let's restack, repack once again. Take a look. See what happens to the 89 machine up here. See him on the outside lane. Aiden Shrine coming through. The contact's actually going to be down on the inside lane between the 54 and the 38.
That's absolutely right. It looks like Justin Osterman just came down a little too late. Tried to get down to the bottom to fill that hole, and filled that hole just a little later than he should have. The 38's nose was there, and everyone around is just along for the ride at that point.
And taking a super slow-mo view at it right here, you see the 87, the 38, and the 54. Those are the drivers involved in this most recent caution. Nice job. Hold on. Nice job by the 87 to get through. That was quite the ride there for
I would say so.
for Aiden Shrine. I thought he was going to be scot-free, and then looked like he may have almost had an incident, but he gets through. Let's go through on board here with the 87 real quick.
That was a fantastic save. When you get it that sideways, that fast, it is nigh on impossible to get that thing saved. As we're going to get a onboard look right here, you can kind of see the run, the momentum back here, the 54 start to go. And when you see that, when you're behind the wheel right here and you see this right in front of you, you just heart drop. You just have no idea what's going to be happening here. But fantastic work behind the wheel from Aiden Shrine to keep this car out of the wall.
And also, really nice job not to turn left and overcorrect into the side of the 38 and cause additional cars to go around. So, nice job by the 87 all around. Unavoidable contact on the nose of the 87, but all things considered, probably not too bad for Aiden.
Not too bad at all, and I'm hearing some radio chatter about somebody potentially being really low on fuel, almost running out. So we are getting to the closing laps of this race, especially if we start needing to go into overtime. That fuel window, that fuel picture opens up more and more, and something to keep our eye on for sure.
Who is it?
I don't know, Tom. I just heard something about
okay.
someone asking if they're out of fuel.
Well, lights are on here still on the iRacing.com pace car. Expect a restart with about 5 laps to go here from the World Center of Racing Daytona International Speedway as we get set to maybe make our final charge of the night. Once again, we'll take a look at your upcoming schedule. You got Darlington next week, Gateway, finally then Bristol for the round of 16, and you know, you've got other tracks like Charlotte Roval up there in the playoffs. You've got Martinsville, the little paperclip, and then you've got the desert down there in Phoenix and Avondale, Arizona, where these drivers will settle final 4 to determine who the champion is for this series.
Gonna be an exciting time, I tell you what, Tom. And just got to drive by the racetrack in Phoenix here earlier today, so that was pretty cool to see. But gonna have to stop there one of these days as we get ready to go 2x2, re-rack them again for hopefully a green flag run to the finish.
I have a friend that lives down in Phoenix, and she said you guys had a really bad dust storm yesterday. So hoping everything is well with you and didn't have any damage there.
Well, I'll tell you what, the beauty of living in Phoenix is that Phoenix is actually just 12 or 15 different cities all packed into one. So where I am, the dust storm didn't happen, but I saw the pictures as well and was feeling pretty happy that it didn't. We got some normal storms, but didn't get that big dust cloud. That was pretty crazy, pretty surreal.
Well, we're going to be seeing a restart here with 5 laps to go. High 5 over the Speedway. Mike Schaefer, Daniel Scruggs, currently your front row. Chris Lawrence, Roy Hill make up row number 2. Brad Holmes and Nathan Peacock. Thought Nathan Peacock was done before. Had some damage on that 72 machine. Went around a couple of times. Now he's up back in contention for the race win.
He absolutely is. You can't count anyone out at this point. I think that's another one of those special things about these tracks is, you know, we've seen drivers on a restart with 5 or 6 laps to go come from 7th place, 8th place, 9th place, what have you, all the way up to the lead. It's all about when the runs happen and making the right moves at the right times. It's a whole lot of decision making at just shy of 200 miles an hour, racing mere inches away from all of those drivers around you. So here's where the true test is. Buckle up, because it's go time.
Well, the drivers are about to earn their money and earn the trophy from tonight's race here at Daytona. As we get set to go, we're going to see a restart with 5 laps remaining as we wait for the pace car to come out and bring the field to Barney the Flagman once again and send them on their way to settle the score.
All right, that pace car is going to take that hard left-hand turn down onto pit road, leading the field. The 29 of Mike Schaefer, our biggest mover of the night, alongside Daniel Scruggs in the 14. Into the restart zone we go. Great restart by the 14 to keep level with the leader, but does not have any help. Chris Lawrence on the bottom going to push that 29 clear as we head to turn 1.
On the inside lane comes Daniel Scruggs in that number 14 machine. Had no help up on the outside behind the 14. He's going to fall back down. Third car on the inside line. Single file for the first 4, maybe 5 car lengths, as Roy Hill III is the lead driver on the outside lane, but they're about 5 car lanes back off the race leaders.
That they are, and we got Brad Holmes with a massive run. He's going to take it. He's going to start the outside line, going to lead that 38 and that 87 up to that high line. Chris Lawrence in the 10 is going to try and get a nose out as well, has to check up to avoid getting into the 29, and now double leads the outside off of turn 4 as we approach 4 laps to go.
Hold on to your phone here, Ari. Don't count out that 38 machine. That 38 running really strong, back in about 5th place right now. But the field being led with 4 laps to go by the 29 Mike Schaefer. Chris Lawrence all over the back of him. I think Chris in the 10, he wants to go, but I think he's waiting until the 0-0 gets just close enough that he can slide up and get a big push once he does slide up. But right now, Mike Schaefer, Chris Lawrence, they're the first 2 drivers on the inside line, as Brad Holmes is trying to make a run up on the outside, but not quite there to the road number 2 yet.
Not quite there. Brad Holmes cannot seem to get too far past that 14 and really bring that outside line up to the 10 car. I do agree that I think the 10 car is just waiting for the right opportunity to strike and jump out to get that advantage on the 29. That outside line's got a good run now. Can they carry it through turns 1 and 2? We are down to 3 laps to go. The 10 car does not take the opportunity, and now Brad Holmes level with 2nd place. The 29 is going to try and control both lanes right here. A little dangerous on iRacing.
Halfway down the backstretch with 3 laps remaining. You see the 10 dip in the left side tires below the inside line. That's going to cause a stack up on the inside line. Drivers Paxton Frith, Logan Spencer, Daniel Scruggs. That's going to break up the inside line, as now Brad Holmes side by side with your race leader, as we're seeing 2 laps to go here.
2 laps to go at the line. We're 3 wide at the back of this pack. Brad Holmes now on the outside, level with the race leader in the 29 at the line. Give it to Brad Holmes narrowly on the outside. That outside line is formed, but here comes Justin Osterman up the middle. Lone car trying to make it work, and there's contact, but they keep it straight somehow. A little more contact. We're still going, and they're finally wrecking behind. Caution out.
Justin Osterman goes around, believe Paxton Frith. I want to say it was Paxton that was involved in that, but let's take another look. We're going to slow this down and see exactly what happened between the 21, I want to say, and Justin here. Let's see. We can take a step back, and this one's going to be fun to watch. We're going to have to step back just a little bit further here. You know what? They started having a moment long before the caution flag came out here. So that's what you see here.
Absolutely.
So they're already door banging. Justin Osterman, if I'm Paxton, I can't go any lower. My left sides are already on or below the yellow line. Let's do this here, Ari. Let's take a look from the 21 here.
So we get that initial contact, and it looked like everyone kind of had it saved, but this might be one of those incidents where these two cars were kind of hooked together, and maybe we just couldn't quite see it too well from the outside. But sometimes these cars can just get a little hooked together, and when you're hooked together, you keep bouncing off each other, and with each bounce, there's more momentum, and eventually that momentum is going to be enough to cause one or both of those cars to get sideways. It just so happens that the 72 was there at the wrong time to also get collected in this, but I think we saw the 21 and the 54 just kind of get a little too tangled together right there to keep it saved after this initial contact.
Innocent victim Nathan Peacock in that number 72 Toyota Camry comes through. Does Logan Spencer get through? You see a couple of drivers trying to make through. Logan Spencer looks like he's going to be able to get through. Christian Key and possibly Brendan Brody back there. Innocent victims of this most recent incident here in tonight's race.
Well, Tom, here we sit at our first overtime attempt and eighth caution of the night. Currently, our race leader, the 29 of Mike Schaefer, ahead of Chris Lawrence in the 10 and Brad Holmes in the 00. We've got quite the first two rows to set up for this restart. That top four right there, I think, are maybe in some various order the four favorites based on what we've seen tonight, not just the positions they're running in at the moment.
I don't know that you can have a favorite here at Daytona. You just need to be in the right lane. I mean, we've seen innocent victims all night. We've seen Logan Spencer get caught up in stuff not of his own doing. We just saw Nathan Peacock get caught up in something not of his own doing. So I think a lot of it is about luck here. There is still very much a skill set to running the super speedway races, but I think once you get down inside of 10 or 15 laps to go, a lot of it is just rolling the dice and saying, do I want to be on the high side or the low side, and hoping you pick the right lane.
That is a good point. That's a real good point. And, well, the bottom line is going to shape up with the 29 and the 00. That outside line is the 10 and the 38. The 14 car is all the way back into 5th place. We did see the 14 get a really good restart on that last attempt, so we'll see if the 14 can do some extra work for that bottom line here on the start. We're going to rack them up 2 by and see which lane the 29 opts for, but it seems like more often than not the leader's been staying on the bottom this evening.
Should see the lights go out this time by, as this will extend us into our first green-white checkered, our first overtime finish of the evening. I believe they do have 3 green-white checkers. Perhaps Mr. Semple can correct us if that is not the case, but do expect the possibility of 3 green-white checkers, with this one being our first of the attempts out here tonight in tonight's race.
Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, Tom. I like the outside line. If I'm in the car, I want to be in the outside line. I don't want to be in the bottom. The restarts are one thing, but once we're up to speed, I'm going to the outside line as quick as I can, as quick as I see cars out there, because the outside line is the line that moves. Whether you're 2 wide or 3 wide, I like being anywhere but on the bottom, because it's so easy to get shuffled back if you're on the bottom of the racetrack. So if I'm any of these drivers right now, I'm trying to get to that outside once everyone's up to speed.
Well, we're about to find out who's going to get the checkered flag out here tonight. Mike Schaefer bringing us to another restart out here. To his outside, he's got Chris Lawrence. Gary Miller starting on the outside of row number 2. Brad Holmes to his inside. So you got the top 4 right there. Don't count out the 14 or the 87. I think the 87 has been given the best bumps all night long to the driver in front of him, but I think the 14 has probably been one of the most aggressive drivers we've seen trying to come through the field. So with that combination of those 2 right there, it's going to be a fun one to watch.
That it is indeed. Pace car takes that a hard left-hand corner. And now it is time for our first overtime attempt. The 29 of Mike Schaefer hits the loud pedal. Great restart from Brad Holmes on his bumper. The outside line has not gone anywhere, but don't count them out now, Tom. They are 4 cars, nose to tail, all linked up. And that might prove good as we get back to the backstretch. Never mind, they're actually going to jump down. That outside line is going nowhere fast. And now we're in an interesting position here.
Watch the 14 here. I think the 14 and the 00 may attempt to make a move to the outside lane of the 29 here. If they get the run, and yep, there they both go. Well, there goes Brad Holmes, at least by himself.
There goes Brad Holmes. The 14 is going to help the 29 into turn 3. Brad Holmes does have some help coming eventually. Going to try and get that side draft off the 14, but the 14 car of Daniel Scruggs is going to have the opportunity. He's going to take it, jumps to the outside, going to try and get a nose ahead. White flag, this time by.
This time by is the last time by from Daytona International Speedway. Daniel Scruggs, Michael Schaefer leading the way out here, nose to nose, entering to turn number 1, as neither one of them really have help right up on their back bumper. It's going to be about which lane gets there first, Arie.
That it is. As we approach the backstretch, the 29 has all the help on the bottom. What can the outside do? They don't have as many cars. Can the 77 get clear? Approaching turn 3, all the momentum on the bottom.
Nothing that the 77 of Roy Hill can do right now, but here comes Brad Holmes to the outside. Mike Schaefer going to slide up half a lane as there's contact behind him. They're going to race to the checkered flag. Daniel Scruggs to the outside lane. He's going to get turned by Brad Holmes onto the outside wall, and race leader and race winner Mike Schaefer going to come across the line at Daytona and take the race win out here tonight. Mike Schaefer in the 29 is the race winner.
What a chaotic final lap. It looked to me like Brad Holmes had the opportunity to go 3 wide, and that was just a classic coming to the finish at Daytona kind of incident right there, but get a good replay here.
And there you see Daniel Scruggs getting up into the outside lane, and Brad Holmes coming down the track and taking out Roy Hill III in the number 77. Unfortunate victim for Roy Hill III, but Mike Schaefer comes across the line first in the number 29 machine in that Chevy Camaro after 80 laps to finish out tonight's race.
That was a job well done and a restart well raced by the 29 of Mike Schaefer. It's not often that you see the race leader at the start of green white checkered still come home with the victory, but the 29 just kept a calm head, kept it straight, kept it going, and parked in victory lane as a result.
Well, we're gonna gather up your top 3 race finishers out here tonight. We're gonna step away for just a moment, and we will be back for your post-race interview. All right, back at it up here with your top 3 finishers out here tonight. First driver that we're going to be catching up with is Gary Miller in the number 38 machine. Gary, Tom, and Arie up here in the CyberThunder Broadcast Network booth. How are you tonight?
No, we're good. How are you, sir?
Hey, we are doing okay. We are enjoying watching you guys race out here tonight. We played a little bit of a game in the middle of tonight's race, and Arie said to me, he says, which driver do you think is going to find your way up front? And I said, I'm picking the 38. I think the 38 tonight is the night for Gary, but came up just 2 spots short of a race win out here tonight. Kind of bring us through your race.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, I could time the runs real well. Got to push him, but there at that last restart, I was trying to push the 10, but we just couldn't go anywhere. And I probably should have cut out sooner than I did, and then was able to, get a good run down the back straightaway. And of course, the outside lane went sideways. So yeah, it was just a good solid run. That's what we need right before the playoffs start.
Well, speaking of the playoffs, you've got Gateway, Darlington, and Bristol. Not in that order, but you've got Gateway, Darlington, and Bristol for the round of 16. You got any of those 3 tracks circled, or any of the tracks in the playoffs specifically circled that we're going to see the 38 challenge for a win?
I was real good in an early race at Darlington. Bristol, I do like Bristol as well. So I think if I'm just trying to get top 5s, and I might be able to do something at Darlington, I think.
Well,
I haven't raced much at Gateway.
I don't think I have either. I've got the track, but I haven't done too many laps out there. Well, Gary, congratulations on a 3rd place finish out here. You set yourself up nice for a playoff run. Best of luck in the playoffs. We hope to get to talk to you throughout the playoffs, but tonight we're going to open up the floor for you, and I want to say thanks. Hello to anybody back home watching this 38 machine. Come up to the front tonight.
I think my nephew Kevin, son Michael, he was in the race tonight. He pretty much got me started in iRacing, so it's been fun learning. Of course, the league, Matt and everybody, Jaden, everybody putting this on, and you guys broadcasting it for us. It's been a blast. My first season with these guys, so it's been a lot of fun.
All right, well, Gary, in that 38 car, we're going to let you get out of here. We're going to let you go debrief with Mike and talk about your guys' races. But congratulations once again on a 3rd place run.
Appreciate it, Tom.
All right, and we're kicking Gary out of here, and I believe Arie's got our 2nd place finisher, Aiden.
That I do. We've got runner-up tonight, Aiden trying to the 87 car. Aiden, that was a very chaotic race, very up and down, lots of close calls, lots of actual calls, and by the time the dust settled, you were in 2nd place. But walk us through that final restart, that green-white checkered specifically, and how you navigated the chaos, what was going through your mind, and how you wound up right there to snag 2nd place.
Yeah, I was kind of got stuck on the bottom there. Didn't have a chance to get to the outside. That's where I was making most of my time throughout the race. So I was just kind of pushing the inside, and C's parted, I guess, at the off of 4, and ended up 2nd.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's all it takes, especially at the drafting tracks like this. I will say, earlier in the race, I guess still towards the end, we saw you just narrowly avoid some real heavy contact, keeping that car straight after it got just about 45 degrees sideways at full speed. So walk us through that incident and how you kept that thing straight, because that was a great save.
Yeah, that was a really close one. I don't know how I didn't get more damage from that. I had a couple of those incidents that were really close, but yeah, I don't know. I got real sideways there. I don't know how I kept it straight.
Fair enough. Well, next week we head to Darlington. That's going to be the start of the playoffs here in FDRL. How do you feel going into a track like Darlington Raceway, a track that many drivers view as one of the hardest on the schedule?
Yeah, it's not one of my favorite tracks. I'm not very good at it, so I guess I'll have to put some practice in. But we'll see what happens, I guess.
That we will. Well, congratulations on a good run tonight, Aiden. I'm going to open up the floor to you to, give you shout outs, thank yous to anyone you want to for a good run tonight. And, well, floor is yours.
I guess thank you to you guys for broadcasting it tonight. It's pretty cool to, be racing with an audience watching. So, yeah, thank you to you guys.
All right, you got it. There's your runner-up finisher, Aiden Tryon in the 87 car this evening at Daytona. And with that one, I do believe Tom is caught up with our race winner.
Big race winner out here tonight, Mike Schaefer in the number 29 machine. Mike Schaefer comes home with the regular season finale victory. Mike, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
I bet.
Doing great.
That was quite the chaotic couple of final restarts that you had to work your way through with a couple of green-white checkers and some late race restarts. Kind of bring us through your thought process on that and how you managed to keep the lead on all those restarts there.
Oh, it was just keeping ahead of the mess. You know, I just tried to stay ahead and get a jump, and they're all hard racers, man. I enjoy it.
Well, tonight you finish out the regular season pointed in the right direction because we've got our playoffs. We just asked Aiden and Gary what they thought about their upcoming playoff chances. We're going to see that number 29 machine in the playoffs. We've got Darlington, Bristol, Phoenix, Martinsville, the Charlotte Roval. We've got Talladega mixed in there. Which track do you think that we're going to see that 29 machine up front next?
Hopefully the next one and every other one. That's the plan. So
I
we'll
love
see
that
how it all
plan.
plays out.
That's a good plan. But tonight in the World Center of Racing at Daytona Beach, Mike Schaefer takes the big black and white checkered flag out here tonight. Mike, we're going to open up the floor for you. Anybody you want to thank, say hello to? Anybody back home watching you come away with the win tonight?
No, I appreciate y'all doing the broadcast. Y'all do a heck of a job every week. Thank all the guys over at MD Air Conditioning and Jaden Wicks, all the guys in the league. Just a great group of guys. Everybody drives clean, drives hard. It's a blast.
Well, best of luck to you, Mike, on your playoff run here over the next 10 weeks. Look forward to seeing that 29 make an attempt at the championship.
Well,
All right, and that is your race winner, Mike Schaefer, out here tonight. Arie, is as the dust settles and everybody makes their way down into victory lane, fans are making their way out into their cars from tonight's race here at Daytona. That was a fun one that we got to witness tonight.
That was a tried and true race at Daytona, regular season finale. Seeing the 29 car come out on top, that was a good time. That was a blast, and that's one thing we've learned that we can come to expect out of the Freaky Diggy Racing League is no matter who's out there on track, it's gonna be intense and it's gonna be a battle, a scrap all the way to the end. So I'm excited for the playoffs to start. We're gonna have even more up for grabs than just race wins. Everyone's got a championship to fight for, and well, the intensity can only go up from here.
As everybody begins to make their way out of Daytona, we're going to take a look at the race results out here tonight. Rounding out the field of 16 drivers strong, Mike Schaefer comes out in front of all of them out here tonight in that number 29 Chevy Camaro that we just spoke to. Aiden Shrine, Gary Miller, your podium out here tonight. In your top 5 was rounded out by Chris Lawrence and Nathan Peacock.
In 6th place, it's going to be double-double. Brad Holmes bringing it home ahead of Daniel Scruggs in 7th place. Brendan Brody in 8th. Roy Hill III comes home in 9th. And rounding out the top 10, Justin Osterman in the 54 car.
And Christian Key finishes 1 lap down to that 970 after leading some laps early in tonight's race. Logan Spencer comes home at the bottom of the Dirty Dozen out here in that 89 machine. Last car 1 lap down for the 89. Couple of incidents, multiple incidents, couple of times. Wrong place, wrong time for the 89 machine. Christopher Pugliese in the number 42. Paxton Frith, Mike Miller, and Jaden Wicks rounds out the field of 16 drivers.
All right, with Daytona, the regular season finale, a wrap, we officially turn our attention to the beginning of the playoffs here for the Freaky Diggy Racing League. We've got Darlington 1 week from now, the very first race of the playoffs, and one of the more difficult tracks on the circuit. Cannot wait to get out there and see these drivers take on the track. Too tough to tame.
It's going to be a fun one. What do you say, Arie? Next week, same time, same place, here on the CyberThunder Broadcast Network, but we will be from Florence, South Carolina next week.
Sounds like a plan to me.
From the CyberThunder Broadcast Network, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. See you next week here. Mike Schaefer, winner at Daytona.